The Big Daddy G Show. Daddy G Show. Daddy G Show. Now type it in, take it in. Where do I begin? He's really funny and he's not really thin. It's the Big Daddy G Show. G Show. Big Daddy G Show. G Show. He's a funny guy, I'm not gonna lie. He once made me laugh out both my eyes. It's the Big Daddy G Show. G Show. It's the Daddy G Show. G Show. Yeah. Now let's go. Now boy, what you know? Man, he made me laugh so hard I hit the floor. It's the Big Daddy G Show. G Show. It's the Daddy G Show. G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Yeah. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Yeah. Now what you know? It's the Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. He make you laugh so hard you hit the floor. What it is, it's the Big Daddy G Show.
We're on? Oh, okay. Hey, kids. Welcome to the Big Daddy G Show. I'm just checking. Let's see. Just checking to make sure that we're on Facebook, YouTube, and our website. If you want somebody to watch the show, our website is thebigdaddyg.com. And just click on the watch, and you should be able to catch this live like the rest of the world. Okay, so let's see. You probably don't want to know about all that, but here we go. Okay. There was a really cool story that Katharine Hepburn talked about something that happened when she was a little girl. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's that time of the year that you're supposed to be nice to people. So I wish people didn't have to wait until, Christmas time to be nice to each other. Why? Why do you have to wait till Christmas time to be nice to each other? Doesn't make sense. I'm trying to find that little clip for you, but folks, the winter is coming, and you need to bring your pets in because it's too cold for them out there. And if it's too cold for you, then it's too cold for us. I mean, for them. Well, animal. It's too cold for them, and people think that because they buy these igloo dog houses, that's going to keep them warm, but it's not. There's been studies where people have actually slept in the igloo house, and dude, it freezes in there. So don't think that that's going to keep them warm or they're going to be safe there. They're not. But this Katharine Hepburn story I want to tell you about, let me see if I can find it. For some reason, our internet is going really slow. So I'm going to see if I can find that story for you. It was a really, really cool story. And it's the kind of story that, you want to say or you want to talk about during the Christmas time, which is where we're at now. And let me see if I can find it for you guys. It was an awesome, awesome story. And so I know that we don't talk about religion. We don't talk about politics here. But if you are a religious person and your religion tells you that you're supposed to hate somebody, then you're in the wrong religion, So it's time to find a new religion, because any religion that tells you to hate, not a good religion. But here's another little thing. This is from Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut wrote this particular little story. So this guy, he was doing it when he was 15. Here, I'll just read this real quick to you. When I was 15, I spent a month working on an archaeological dig. I was talking to one of the archaeologists one day during our lunch break, and he asked those kinds of, questions that people ask when they're trying to get to know you. Questions, like, do you play sports? This guy was asking Kurt Vonnegut when he was 15, what is your favorite subject? And I told him, no, I don't play any sports. I do theater. I'm in choir. I play the violin, piano. I used to take art classes. And the guy says, and he went, wow, that's amazing. And I said, no, but I'm not really good at any of them. And he said, and this is what the guy told him, which I thought was really cool. And I wanted to mention it to you guys. He said, well, this is Kurt talking, and he said something that I will never forget, which absolutely blew my mind because no one had ever said anything like it to me before. I don't think being good at things is the point of doing them. I think you've got all these wonderful experiences with different skills, and that all teaches you things and makes you an interesting person no matter how well you do them. And that honestly changed my life because I went from a failure, someone who hadn't been talented enough at anything to excel, to someone who did things because I enjoyed them. I had been raised in such an achievement-oriented environment, so inundated with the myth of talent. And I thought it was only worth doing things if you could win at it. So, folks, and I've told this story before, in 50 years or 100 years, nobody's going to remember who you were or who you are or anything. So have fun. Do whatever it is that makes you happy. Go fishing, go walking, go do this, go do that, go play in a play, go, do TV, just do whatever it's going to take to make you have fun. Because like I said, in 50 years, nobody's going to remember who you are. There's a lot of people that don't know a lot of our old famous movie stars, that are gone now. And, if you ask some people, they won't know who that person was. And that person, like Milton Berle was a huge comedian. A lot of you don't know who Milton Berle is. So anyway, just have a good time and enjoy life. And for some reason, our internet here is not working, but I'm going to see if I can get it to go again. Anyway, I guess I can't. I'll see if we can get that internet to go. I was wondering, somebody asked me a question the other day about autism, and I said, dude, I don't know. But when I was a kid, we got 6 shots. And now, from what I understand, kids get 26 shots. So I'm wondering that if in other countries autism is such a big deal or such a big problem, because we're getting 26 shots here, and why all of a sudden are we getting 26 shots when we were, at one point getting 6 and everything was fine? So anyway, so this is a print. Can we do a close-up, Tron? Here's a print. A guy on at this marketplace that I went to this Saturday gave this to me, and I'm gonna try to get his name for you right now. I wrote my friend Rob. So this was done by a guy named Alan LaFuente. Alan LaFuente Art Shack here in Austin, Texas. I believe it's in Austin, but it's called Alan LaFuente, LaFuente Art Shack. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of cool. I mentioned to him that it looked like my mother-in-law with, but she has more facial hair. But anyway, so there it is. So if you want to check out some of his artwork, I actually I'm going to try to do a meeting with him to see if he'll do some artwork for the show. Again, his name is Alan LaFuente Art Shack in Austin, Texas. If you're interested in his artwork. Okay. Somebody, a lot of y'all know that I just got out of the hospital not too long ago, and I was starting to get anxious, anxiety. I was kind of not freaking out, but it was becoming an issue. And then someone very, very, very important told me that if you created this anxiety, you can get rid of it. So think about that. The other thing I wanted to talk to y'all, if y'all wanted to send in artwork, because we're looking for people to send in artwork about the show, and we'd like to have you, maybe we might be able to show your artwork on TV. So if you're interested in that, please write us at dubbigdaddyg@gmail, and send us some of your artwork, and let's see if we can put it on the air. Or maybe we can have you on the show. I'm going to check one more time and see if I can find that Facebook thing, but it doesn't look like our internet is working. So I'll try to read that to you a little bit later on. Today we have on the show, we're going to go to a commercial first, but then I wanted to tell you about Marla. She's a lady that has adopted kids in the past, and I wanted to talk to you guys, kind of give you a kind of like a background as to what you have to go through, what happens, how long it takes, what does it cost, is there anybody out there that'll help you with costs, stuff like that. So if you ever thought about adopting, please stay tuned, because this is going to be a very, very educational show. So all right, we'll be right back after this commercial. Ta-da!
One word to describe the benefit of public access would be community.
It's for the community, by the community.
Community. I love to come by and see the new gear. It's got red cameras. We got Sony FX9s now. It's insane. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's up in New York. He's like, dude, there's nothing compared to what you have in Austin.
To be a part of this is exciting. The role that public access played in hip-hop, we were able to bring hip-hop to Austin.
The fact that you can still use hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. If you want to put everything into it, you can get a lot out of it. To take your ideas, take them worldwide now.
All right, we're back on. Hi, kids. We're back. And we're going to have Marla come up and talk to us in just a second. Marla, can you come on in? Ta-da! And this is Marla. Nice to meet you. Or not to meet you. I've already known you for a long time. Come on and sit down. And Marla, the reason we have Marla here today is because she, what's the word I'm looking for? She has adopted a bunch of kids, and we're here to find out what it is, what she went through, stuff like that. But first, I want to let you guys know a little bit about Marla. So, Marla, tell us a little bit about Miss Marla. Where are you from? Like, where were you born?
Encino, California.
Encino, California.
Mhm.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier, we weren't on the show, or we weren't on the air yet, but I heard you mention to somebody, to Paige, that your dad was in the Army.
Correct.
Okay. So were you an Army brat? What's what they call an Army brat?
Kind of, not really. My dad
Okay.
was only in the Army for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
But thank you to all those that serve us,
Oh,
because
yes.
without you,
Absolutely. Thank you.
my husband was in the Air Force and Navy
Oh, nice.
pre-marriage of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could not be a military wife. I
Now
know
we're
my
talking about
boundaries.
Mark.
Yeah,
Okay. Hi, Mark.
the smoker.
The smoker. Is he smoking cigarettes? Still?
No, turkey, or was it you wanted a steak?
I want a steak.
You wanted a barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
he still owes you that.
Dude, what's good? brisket.
Yes, that's what it
Brisket's
was.
good. Yeah.
And he
But-
makes a good one.
So you were born in Encino.
I was.
Okay.
I grew up in Agora.
Uh-huh.
I graduated in '85 from Agora High School. Married at 23.
Mhm.
Divorced in 2009. I'm not going to give my age.
No.
And we had 6 pregnancies, 7 babies that I miscarried.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we went through the in vitro. We did it all.
Uh-huh.
And you go into those offices and you don't really want to see the ladies next to you who's pregnant, who's showing, who's not, because I was not, or I was, and I was a high risk. They told me I had polycystic ovaries.
Uh-huh. What does that mean?
No freaking clue, because
We can't cuss.
oh, sorry,
Yeah.
no freaking clue.
Yeah, no freaking.
I was 400 pounds. Nobody ever told me I was fat.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
I have pictures. I'll show you on a commercial break.
And what caused you to gain all that weight?
Stress, my marriage. I was in an
Okay.
abusive marriage.
Okay.
But when they told me I couldn't carry a child,
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that you don't say no to.
Yeah.
Because no to me means find a way to make it a yes.
Yeah.
So I signed up for every adoption I could think of. In California, it was Department of Children and Family Services,
Yeah.
and I had to do a background check, and we both did. And he was only on board for 2 children, a boy and a girl. And I was like, okay, a bookend, 1 boy, 1 girl. He'll have his boy, I'll have my girl. We'll all match and be happy, right?
Mhm.
So I adopted actually an autistic kid at 3 weeks from turning 3.
Mhm.
And I wanted a special ed kid because I have dyslexia.
Okay.
And I slipped through the school system
Yeah.
just because my parents had a lot of money.
Mhm.
And I wanted to make a world a better place for my child.
Right.
So I found this young man and I brought him home, and I never wanted to let go of David.
Mhm.
And so you don't always get them as that perfect little babies.
Right.
Mine was a toddler, so I was like, yes, we can potty train and we can go and ride the carousel,
Right.
But when I had my baby shower for my toddler,
Uh-huh.
because I didn't want to be left out like the pregnant ones.
Right,
I
right.
just celebrated David's moving in with us.
Right.
And my girlfriend said, hey, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And it was my mechanic's wife. And she said, my cleaning lady's daughter has a baby that it's a girl, and they want to give her up for adoption. And I was like, okay, good luck. A lot of people want her.
Mhm.
No, they want you to have her because they see how well you are with David.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't name David. I
Mhm.
just changed his middle name
Okay.
because it was a name I could live with, if that makes sense. And he knew
Yeah.
his identity. So I was like, okay. And I was like, went home and I told my husband, and he goes, it better be a girl. And, again, I was in an abusive marriage, but
Oh,
I
no.
didn't know it at the time.
Right.
I guess that's how every married couple was. But I had to find a doctor.
Mhm.
So my stepmom's brother was a doctor, and I said, hey, Unc, I need a doctor to deliver a baby in like a few months.
Mhm.
And he's like, okay, well, they can go find their own. I said, no, it's my baby.
Mhm.
It's a girl. And he looked at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm perfect. I'm perfect. Her name's going to be Kimber.
Mhm.
And because when you're in the infertility room,
Yeah.
instead of looking at everybody, you're trying to find out what you're going to name your kid.
Right.
So I had named it after everybody in the family. And he connected me with his friend and said he would deliver it for me and just take the insurance that she had,
Mhm.
which was Medi-Cal in California.
Mhm.
And I would have my little girl. So this girl was 14.
Mhm.
And the situation wasn't good. She was from Guatemala and she had to come here. And she's having a C-section because she had herpes. And you don't want the baby to go through the
Right.
canal because it's
Right.
transparent.
Correct.
So she had a C-section at 14. And I got to the hospital. It was October 1st of 97. And I was like, yes, yes. Is she here yet? Is she here yet?
Aw.
Is she here yet? So she showed up with her mom, and it was very emotional because she didn't ask to be pregnant,
Mhm.
and she didn't want to see the baby and everything else. And I really felt for her, but I've always believed in open adoptions with all my kids, but we can get there. And she was allowed just her mom in the room.
Mhm.
And then my uncle's friend that was the doctor said, no, Marla needs to be in here.
Yeah.
So he made an exception, and he put me right next to the heat machine for the baby.
Mhm.
And he takes the baby out and he goes, we have a problem.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, we don't. Whatever it is, I'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Well, what was the name you picked out for the baby? And I said, Kimber Leanne. And he goes, that's not going to work for this one. I was like, y'all make it work, you know? You tell me no, I'll make it work, right?
Yeah.
She was a boy.
Ah.
So you're right.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, David and Matthew.
Uh-huh.
So David's name is David Alexander Makeley,
Mhm.
and his initial spell the River Dam.
Mm.
Matthew Robert is Mr. Makeley.
Mhm.
But I really wanted that girl, the Fufu one.
Mhm.
And she, you know, so I was like, okay, let's just do it one more time. We'll make sure it's a girl. We'll make sure it's a girl. And the way I picked out David and the girl is we had pictures to
Mhm.
choose from, and with like a little bio and a history.
Mhm.
So I adopted Danielle.
Okay.
Her name at birth was Destiny Grace.
Mhm.
And the mother had hoped for a new destiny in life because she was conceived in Twin Towers.
Wow.
Not Twin Towers. What's the jail in California? Yeah, the Twin Jail. So she wanted a new destiny in life.
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't do destiny.
Yeah.
It doesn't go with David and Matthew. So Daniel, but it's Danielle.
Mhm.
And Danielle Renee is my Dr. Makeley, right? I
Mhm.
mean, we got this little pattern thing going.
Yeah.
So then David had Matthew, Matthew had David, and Danielle had nobody.
Mhm.
So here I go again. And I picked out this chunky monkey.
Mhm.
And my girlfriend told me her name was at birth was Daniela. So I thought, Danielle, Daniela, right?
Yeah.
It kind of,
That's
Danny,
a sign. Yeah.
it comes in, right? Well, I'm not going to let you meet her, Marla, until you change a different name. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, so Danielle, Samantha.
Ah.
And it's Samantha Elise Makeley, so she's my Sam.
Yeah.
Unless she gets married, and hopefully it'll be an M, right? Because we
Right.
don't want to ruin the towels. But the way it worked in California is with David. Before I got David, I had to fill out paperwork. I had to do a background check. I had to show I could support a baby. I had to show, my intentions,
Mhm.
fingerprints, and take classes. And I took a foster adopt class because
Mhm.
that's what I was doing. I was going to foster until I found one that they could place with me.
Mhm.
Because it's not like going to the pound and picking out the cute pooch.
Right. Right.
I mean, I want them all there too. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. We have
Yeah.
4 at home.
Yeah. I get
But-
in trouble there.
But I wasn't really happy with the way California was doing things. So I loved the caseworker friend that I had made, and she brought me on as parenting partner.
Nice.
So I would teach parenting classes to the future parents that were adopting.
Mhm.
And the one thing I was not prepared for, G, was when I got David, he had a trash bag full of stuff.
Okay.
And David loved his trash bag.
Mhm.
Everything in there to a 2-year-old who was just about to turn 3 was his world,
Right.
that he knows of it.
Right.
So I couldn't take the bag and throw it away.
Mhm.
It's like those mothers that have the favorite blanket on their little toddlers, and they wear it down from, sucking their thumb and rubbing it. Always buy more than one.
Yeah.
So when I do a baby shower, I usually give 3 of the same blankets.
Okay.
So we always have backup. But my kids have always known they were adopted.
Mhm.
I always told them they were born in my heart
Mhm.
because Samantha and Matthew would ask me, well, where are the pictures of your mom when you're pregnant?
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, you don't see my heart? Because you were born in my heart.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I see.
because I don't have
Right. Right.
pregnancy pictures. So funny enough, you mentioned Mark earlier, but Mark and I have 2 biological kids.
Mhm.
So my kids go from 29 to 12.
Wow.
And Samantha was 4 years old when I was pregnant.
Mhm.
And she's like, Mommy, if I was born in your heart, what is that alien in your stomach?
Mhm.
And I was like, so because I did so well with you and your sister and brothers,
Mhm.
we got this baby to raise together
Mhm.
because I've always included them. I had mentioned that the biologicals were always in the picture with us,
Mhm.
for those that wanted to be, and of my children that wanted it to be. David had so many grandparents. He had my mom, her husband was uncle, my dad and his wife was a grandma, his dad's mom and dad, and his mom's mom and dad. So he had 8 sets of grandparents at one time.
Well, let's do this.
Okay.
Because we kind of jumped
Yeah.
into the adoption thing. Let's slow it down, go back a little bit, and I want to find out more about you, like who Marla is, and what makes you tick, and what makes you think I should adopt these kids. And so let's find out a little bit more about Marla. So you were born in Encino, and you lived there your whole life, pretty much?
41 years, and
41
I moved.
years.
I
Okay.
moved to Texas.
And then how did you move to Texas, or why did you move to Texas?
Well, I got a divorce,
Okay.
and that
So,
song.
and this divorce that you had, you said it was an abusive relationship.
Correct.
And so he's no longer in your life, this
Correct.
person?
Mhm.
Okay. And what was it him? I mean, did he mess with your head?
He told me I was no
manipulation?
good. I would never
Okay.
be anything.
Okay.
And again,
All right.
bringing me a negative means I have to be positive. I have to find my strength.
Right. Right.
And when I moved to Texas, everybody's like, well, why did you move to Texas?
Mhm.
And I said, because all my exes aren't in Texas. They're in California,
There you go.
you know?
All my exes live in Texas.
California. But yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. So, so when you got divorced, had you already adopted any
Yes,
kids?
all
Okay.
4 of them.
Okay. All 4 of them had already been adopted while you were with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? Well, let's go back a little further. Where did you went to school in Encino?
No, I was born in Encino.
Okay.
I lived in the San Fernando Valley where the earthquake was,
Yeah.
Northridge.
Oh yeah.
I grew up there, and then junior high school. My parents moved to Aurora,
Mhm.
and I went to junior high school there and high school.
Nice. And tell me about your growing up. Tell me about what was that like?
Oh, I had the perfect family.
Okay.
My mom had 2 kids. I
Mhm.
was the oldest.
Okay.
My father was an insurance agent. He was in the Army for 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
And my mom wanted a California baby.
Okay.
So she went home from Alabama to California to have me.
Mhm.
And we made it home. And 2 years after I was born, my sister was born.
Okay.
And we're not close.
Okay.
by
So there
any
was
means.
only 2 of you
Uh-huh.
in your family. Only
Yes.
2 of you. Okay. And what you don't have to go into big detail, but
I'm an open book.
what caused the problem with you and your sister?
She was supposed to be the boy,
Okay.
and she was ignored
Hmm.
until my parents divorced.
Okay.
And then I became the rebel. I was very angry at my mom for leaving my dad.
Okay.
And I was pretty much living at my grandparents' house from the age of 17 till 21.
Okay.
And I was very angry with my mom.
Okay. And so you felt it was your mom's fault, you know, the
Yeah.
divorce and everything. Okay.
But I didn't know any different.
Right.
I mean, here
Right.
we had this beautiful house, you know, the white
Mhm.
picket fence and
Right.
everything else. And it was gone in a middle of seconds.
Okay. And out of all the other states,
Why Texas?
why Texas?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
My father moved to Texas a year after my sister moved here.
Oh, okay.
My sister moved back when she divorced
Okay.
to my mom.
And did you move, like you live in Myrtle, Marion, right?
We call it New Braunfels, but yeah.
New Braunfels?
yeah.
Okay. And you moved to New Braunfels, or where
No.
did you move to first? Where was the first city in Texas?
Stone Oak,
Stone Oak.
San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Okay.
My daddy said, hey, you move to this area, you'll think you're in California still.
Yeah.
Because of the traffic.
Oh, because of the traffic. Yeah.
And the houses are so close. They're
Yeah.
like cookie cutters.
Yeah.
And actually, the reason I moved to Shirt, Cibolo, New Braunfels area is because of the mental health for my kids.
Okay.
Because in Bexar County, where I was living,
Mhm.
they were a number, like 7354. And I mean, you could have done Jenny's number and that would have been one of the kids' numbers. You know what I mean? It was that long. And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Did not like that. I wanted my kids to be a name
Mhm.
and not a statistic.
Yeah.
Because even when they were adopted, they were never a name. They were K, whatever the 4 numbers are after that.
Okay.
And that's how they're identified as their whole life, except by me.
Mhm.
Had I stayed in California,
Mhm.
they would have had free college.
Wow.
If you adopt in Texas,
Mhm.
you get free college if you go
Oh.
through the county.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When so at what, you can say 20s, 30s, 40s. I don't need an exact date, but at what age did you finally decide to get divorced?
I was in my 30s.
30s. Okay. And what was the last straw? What was the thing that set you, you know?
When he burned the house down,
Wow.
thinking that would save our marriage.
Wow. And how would that save your marriage?
We could rebuild.
Oh, okay.
He was very, very secretive. Made it look like an electrical fire.
Okay.
And we did rebuild.
Yeah. And whatever happened to him?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. I mean,
It was proven to be an electrical,
Mhm.
and he
Um,
never got caught.
I mean, is he still alive?
As far as I know,
As far as
yeah.
you know? Okay.
hmm
Right. And so he has no contact with the kids at all?
So when I moved here,
Mhm.
I had my divorce decree said that he gets them on certain holidays, and we'd have to, I'd have to fly him back from California. He'd have to
Mhm.
fly him to California.
Okay.
But it came out that he had abused my kids.
Uh,
So when that came out, and because I'm a mandated reporter,
Mhm.
I reported it, one of the incidents to Cibolo PD
Mhm.
and the other one to Church PD. It depended on where I was living and when things came out.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget the Church police officer. His first name is Richard. He broke down crying and said, "God bless you, Marla." And I was like, I just did a police report. Why are you blessing me?
Mhm.
My wife and I just adopted some kids.
Oh,
And he goes, if you ever go outside your front door and you look this way, you might see someone you know that's standing in front of you. Because, confidentiality.
Right.
So I stalked him. So, yeah, he lived in my neighborhood.
Nice.
But anyway, so we had to go to the forensic and we had to put the kids through hell.
Yeah.
And both times reported, it was nothing but nightmare after nightmare. And I'm getting PTSD over this because of my abuse. And I've worked through mine through therapy and everything else. And I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. We're done here. We're going to go to get a therapist for the kids and work through the 5 of us again.
Yeah.
Because that was the best thing I could do for the kids. The boys were, father of the house for a little bit, so they had that role.
Yeah.
And the girls were mama's helpers, so we, put things together. But the therapist told me to put the kids into theater and acting, and I was like, "How do you do that?" And she goes, "I don't know, but you're the mom that's going to figure it out."
Right. And did he ever try to contact you or anything, your ex?
He did up until the second allegation on him.
Okay.
And unfortunately, David is so wrapped around daddy.
Yeah.
He told him he stole my husband's phone and called him and said, so-and-so made another allegation on you. I'll back you this time. And he was 14.
Okay.
So he wiped out the computers, got rid of them. I don't know.
Okay.
So it was a he said, she said, and he said, he said.
Okay.
So, but we're strong today, you know?
Nice. So you said you gained a lot of weight. And
Before my divorce, yeah.
Yeah. What did you do to lose that weight?
Gastric bypass.
Really?
16 years ago.
Wow. And I mean, that's major stuff. I mean, that's
well,
not...
we've gone out and eat a couple times,
Yeah.
you and I, and I order the kids' meals, or I'll
Yeah.
share with Mark, and he rolls his eyes because I don't eat much.
Right. Wow.
One of
See,
your
I'm learning-
martinis, I'd be like way wasted.
Oh yeah. I'm learning so many new things. Okay, so what are some of the obstacles that you faced when it came to the adoption? Like the first child you adopted, who was the first child?
David.
Okay.
He was almost 3 years old.
And what did you have to do as far as like the state?
I had to have the proper bed because we're not in a crib,
right?
But we're not out of a, the thing on the side rail of a bed. So I had to set it up.
Okay.
But not knowing what I was going for, we had a 2-bedroom condo, and I had a crib and a twin bed with the guardrail. So I was prepared for David.
Yeah. And
the younger the kid, the longer the wait.
Yeah. Oh, see. And how long did it take you to get David?
Once the paperwork and everything was approved, we took about 6 months. But it wasn't just like, "Hi, David, this is your mommy. We're going home now."
Right.
I had to go to where he was.
Yeah.
And what I did was I brought him a stuffed animal, a Winnie the Pooh, like a sleeping one.
Nice.
And I found out how many kids were in the foster home, because you don't walk in and just say, "Here, G,"
Yeah.
and forget about Marla.
Right.
So we both got a toy, and I brought something for everybody, but David's was a little more special.
Okay.
Then we met a few times with my ex and I, and the foster mom's like, "You guys have bonded." And I was like, "Okay, what's next?" Because I'm ready to take my boy home.
Right.
I bawled every time we drove away.
Right.
And I'd go back. And the neatest part about David is my sister had 2 girls. No, my stepbrothers had girls. My sister didn't have any kids at this time. But David was the first grandson.
Oh, nice.
And my dad never favored the kids over the biologicals. They were always his favorite.
Yeah.
He treated them all equally. And then when I brought David home for the first time, my first stop was my dad's office, because he sold auto insurance. He owned his own business. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and he told his wife, I'm clocking out now. I'm going to take David and we're going to go get ice cream.
Nice.
And I was like, Hello? He hasn't been to his house yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. He'll be there forever. It's okay. I'm going to take my grandson and we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese and go get ice cream.
Nice.
And I was like, and I'm going too,
There you
because
go.
my stepmom's like, your dad doesn't change diapers.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I am going, aren't
Yeah.
I? So we went to Chuck E. Cheese and got ice cream, and my dad just spoiled him.
Mm.
They always had a very close relationship.
So the actual adoption took around 6 months.
No,
No,
placement.
the
For
placement.
me to meet David, to be
Okay.
matched with David,
hmm
because all the I's had to be dotted and the T's had to be
Right,
crossed.
right.
When he was placed with me, his adoption was not finalized
Okay.
for 18 months.
Wow.
So for 18 months, I had a social worker come to my house,
Wow.
make sure he was well taken care of, make sure he had food,
Right.
make sure the place was always clean, and make sure life was normal.
Right. How did you pay to adopt him? I mean, because I know that there's fees. I believe in Texas the fees are like $10,000 or something like that to adopt a kid in Texas. Or that's what it used to be. I'm not sure what it is now, but
That
that's what
might
it
be a
used to
private adoption.
Okay.
David came with the check,
Okay.
but that's not why I adopted him. I didn't know anything about the check.
Yeah.
Foster parents get
what does
paid.
What does that mean? Came with the check.
I got a monthly check for him till he was 18.
You can like to help with
Mhm.
clothing and food, and
Allowances
stuff like that. Yeah.
and food
Yeah.
and music, whatever he wanted.
Okay.
Matthew,
So hold on a second.
okay,
So in the state of California, you didn't have to pay any money.
no,
To,
not
to
going through Department of Children and Family Services.
adopt. Okay.
In Texas, it's called CPS,
Mhm.
Children Protective
Child
Services.
Protective Services. Yeah.
I don't know what their fees are. I don't know
Okay.
how they work.
Okay.
I'm not going to disclose what I got for David or anything.
No. I don't want to know that. I just want to let them know, if they're thinking about adopting, what it is that they can expect. Like do they expect, you got to pay 5,000, or do you got to pay 10,000, or do you have to, go through all this psychological therapy?
You have to be you have to
Okay.
get all these testing,
Okay.
prove that you're a sane person
Right.
and you're not a pedophile or anything
Right.
like that, and you don't have a background.
And I mean, like, how long did that take, like, to going through all these
Oh,
classes or
you had,
interviews? And
I want to say it was like months, like 6 months of parenting classes.
okay,
But that's what I didn't agree with, and that's why I worked for the department,
okay,
because what I experienced with David was nothing I learned in a class. We would sit around and role play.
Yeah.
Daddy G, can I sit on your lap? No, Marla, it's not appropriate. I mean, common sense stuff.
right.
But in my real reality was getting David to the specialist to find out he's autistic.
Okay. So when you got David, you didn't know he was autistic? Okay.
I knew he had disabilities. I
Okay.
knew his birth parents had disabilities.
Right.
And didn't know if any of that had transpired.
Okay.
So I had to find the best doctors.
Right.
And that's what I did. My goal was to make him successful.
Okay.
The best he could.
And what age was he when you found out that he was autistic?
2nd grade.
2nd grade. Okay.
So like 8 years old.
And what was the clues, or what was it that made you think that he might be autistic?
Just his behavior, because you can't really pinpoint.
Mhm.
I knew his biological dad was bipolar,
Okay.
and his biological mother was schizophrenic.
Okay.
But he didn't have any of those traits.
Okay.
He was more of like, he would sim.
Mhm.
Um,
What does that mean, sim?
like you grab a blanket
Oh, and
and you just rub it a certain way and
yeah.
everything else.
from what I understand is they do that because they're feeling the texture.
Mhm.
Because their senses are so in some kids the senses are so incredible that they can feel. I mean, what we can't feel, they can feel it, and so they can sit there for hours and hours and just feel that
Yeah.
the material.
And we
whatever
didn't
it is.
have lead blankets back then.
Mhm.
I wish we would have.
Okay.
As
So
someone who also hangs out with a lot of autistic people, it is also sensory seeking behavior. Just so when your brain is firing off in like 500 ways at once,
Right.
You need something to ground you, and for a lot of people, include with autism and ADHD, both disorders that often go together, might I add. Stimming is a way to kind of keep you here instead of like
yeah.
so.
Okay. Well, so David is autistic, and who was the second child?
Matthew.
Matthew. And where is Matthew now?
He lives
You're
about 3 miles from me,
Okay.
and he's
David,
married.
David lives near you also?
David recently went to a group home
Okay.
this year.
And how old is David now?
29.
Oh, he's still a baby. Yeah.
He was in our 48.
Oh,
He was the one in
nice.
front of the limo.
Nice. Oh.
That's my David.
I kind of remember him. We went and we filmed a short film.
Lost
Was it
Daughter.
a 48-hour
Mhm.
a 48-hour short film at her house? We've got some pictures that we want to show, and could once Tyrone shows the pictures, can you tell us a little bit about who they are? And so Tyrone, can we show some of the pictures? Just show one and then stop and let us talk about it while the picture's up.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And who is that?
You know who that is. She's here with me tonight.
Oh, Samantha?
That's my chunky monkey.
Aw. And
Yeah.
how old was she here?
That's when I got her. She was 6 months old.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing what she looks like now.
Okay. Wow. Beautiful. What's the next picture? Oh, how old is Samantha now?
She's an adult age. She's 20.
20. Okay.
There's all 3 of them.
Okay. So,
So,
that's David on
David,
the right,
Samantha,
in the middle, and on the left,
Danielle.
Danielle. Okay. And so Samantha's not autistic.
No, but she was born addicted to meth.
Oh, wow.
She was withdrawing when I first got her, even at 6 months
poor
old.
baby.
Yeah.
Wow. And Danielle, does she have any special needs?
She's autistic
She's
as well.
autistic also?
She was not supposed to live, walk, or talk past the age of 1.
Wow.
And she's 24.
Awesome. And what was it that why did they tell you that she wouldn't live past the age of 1?
She was born at 32 weeks, and she was a failure to thrive.
She was a what? I'm sorry.
A failure to thrive, and she didn't walk until she was almost 2 years old.
Wow. What does that mean, failure to thrive?
She wasn't gaining weight.
Okay.
She was very, very skinny.
Okay.
She's definitely not that anymore.
Nice.
But she's my Dan. Yeah.
And so there's one more. Is that the only pictures we have?
No.
Okay. So we have one kid that's missing.
Matthew.
Okay.
He's the one in the flower pot. Okay.
And,
That was the day Mark and I got married.
oh, there's Mark.
And that's Jordan in Mark's arms.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
He was a little.
He was.
Yeah.
Now he's taller than me, but we aren't going
Yeah.
there. But yeah.
And
that
Jordan, I hope everything works out. He just went to the dentist, had some work done. So I hope all that gets settled and you get to eat ice cream and pizza soon. That's Dad.
And Samantha.
Yeah. I actually met your dad.
You did.
And super, super nice.
Yeah.
Now, he passed away like a year ago.
Yeah, on Taylor's birthday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he passed away a year ago.
That's
Super nice
the
guy.
New Braunfels Train Museum that my dad was president of for many, many years. But we were celebrating Jordan's birthday. I think that was his 7th birthday. Maybe. No, Taylor's there. Yeah. And that's my mother-in-law with my father.
Oh, wow. And let's see. Tell me the kids start where
So-
your dad is to the left.
Danielle,
Okay. Samantha.
Samantha, David,
David.
Taylor. Taylor's also autistic, and he's
Taylor.
my biological.
Taylor's the little guy.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And how old is Taylor now?
13.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh man.
Yeah,
You
I-
better get another refrigerator
I have 5 in the house. We're good.
because they eat.
Yeah.
And once they hit 13, they just eat and eat and eat. Let's see.
So that's my exchange student next to
Oh.
Samantha and Jordan.
Okay.
Marvin. Love you, Marvy.
Is he staying with you now?
No, that was
Oh,
last year's
that
exchange.
last year,
Now
okay.
I have Matea from Italy. Marvin's from Spain.
Oh wow, nice.
I didn't want the high school to forget me because Jordan was in 8th grade in that picture.
Yeah.
And Samantha had already graduated, and I didn't want the school to forget me in the high school
Yeah.
because I'm that mom that's in their face.
Yeah.
So we took in our first exchange student, and I miss Marvy.
Nice.
He was part of the family. But Danielle at that point was in a group home in Houston.
Mhm.
But yeah, David's on the far right behind Jordan.
Okay.
And look how tall Taylor is compared to Samantha.
Yep.
So yeah.
Samantha's short. She
Boy.
said shut up from the control room. But okay, so what else have we got, Turn? Is that all the pictures?
No, we have one of Matthew. I know he hasn't shown.
Okay.
But Taylor, even though he's autistic,
Uh-huh.
he does a lot of acting too. And
Nice.
so does Jordan. And there we are.
There we are. The handsome ones. The pretty ones. Well, the reason that I invited you to come be on the show was because there's a lot of people out there that are wanting to adopt, but they're afraid because they think it's going to be some huge expense, or but there are organizations. If for some reason, who is that?
That's Matthew, my
That's Matthew?
26-year-old.
Aw,
I called him Boo Boo Bear
yeah,
because he was a boo boo. He's supposed to be a girl, remember?
yeah. I see he's into pot.
Yeah.
Okay, is that it?
You're hilarious, G.
Oh, thank you. I guess that's all the pictures.
So there's different ways they can adopt.
Uh-huh.
There's something called Wednesday's Child.
Okay.
In California, again, I don't know anything about Texas.
Mhm.
I don't want to reference Texas, but every Wednesday they would show a segment,
Mhm.
and they do that in San Antonio on Fox 29, I think it is,
Mhm.
of a successful adoption.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you're married, single, straight, not
Mhm.
straight, whatever. If you have the heart
Mhm.
and you have the desire,
Right.
I say go for it,
Right.
because every child deserves a happy family.
Exactly. The guy from Wendy's that used to own, he passed on.
He was adopted.
Dave,
Mhm.
um,
I don't know his last name, but he was adopted.
Dave something. He was adopted, and he started a foundation through Wendy's that you can get financial help
Really?
through Wendy's. Yeah, you can get financial help to adopt a kid. So if you're out there and you're seriously thinking, that about adopting or helping some kid out, that's an awesome thing to do. Marla is an awesome person. I've known her for a few years, and she's an awesome person. She was going through a lot, but she still found time and a place in her heart to bring in these kids into her life and try to help them so that they could have a chance, at a normal life, as normal as it can be. I've been to her house. There's pizza every day. There's pizza there every day. But you really care about these kids,
I'm like the old Mother Hubbard
Yeah.
in the shoe with all the kids in
with
the
all
neighborhood.
the kids in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah. When I went to for the 48-hour film project that you guys were doing, your house was full
Yeah.
of people, and it seemed to me like they all lived there, or,
Coming out
or
of the
they wanted
wood.
to live there. Yeah. Or
Right.
they wanted to live there. And have you widened the driveway by any chance?
No, you can't bring the limo
Oh,
down.
okay, all right. Because their driveway is kind of narrow, but well, it's narrow for my vehicles, and I was having a hard time, with the limo. But we shot that.
We did.
And who was the guy? The director, Michael
Ocho.
and he gave me a really nice mug that I've had to hide from Tyrone because Tyrone breaks mugs. And I'm going to try to bring it next week. And yeah, I'm going to try to bring it next week and show it to you guys. But I actually wanted you to talk to Michael and see if he would consider coming on the show, because I know that he has an interesting background also.
He does.
I guess the point that we're trying to make here is that Marla is not perfect, but she has a heart, that she's willing to open to help other human beings. And when she found out that her adopted kids were autistic, she didn't just say, "Oh, well, I changed my mind. This is too much trouble," or la da 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 da. She stuck with it.
Somebody once asked me what's the difference between my adopted kids and my biological kids.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you answer that? How do you,
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest fear, I shouldn't say it's a problem because it's never a problem, was I wasn't married when I got pregnant with Jordan.
Okay.
So we had the baby, then got married.
Okay.
But in our generation, if you didn't have that little thing on your finger, you couldn't be pregnant. And I remember my dad saying, "Oh my God, it's going to be our baby," because he was my father. But there is no comparison.
Right.
There really isn't.
Right.
Growing up, they got jealous of each other if I took one of them out or not all of them out. And I was that mother at the store with the kids, one hand on the basket, and we're walking together. You guys touch anything? No, my kids had a voice, and they still have a voice.
Awesome.
So, but I had mentioned that they, so Matthew and his biological mother are 14 years apart, right? Because she was 14 when he was born.
Right.
And she came into his life towards the end of our stay in California because her boyfriend wanted to see what kind of baby she would make.
Wow.
And I didn't know that, but it was like, really? Seriously?
Yeah.
He's mine. What difference does it make? She made him. Yeah, but I raised him. I'm the one that took him to the emergency room in the middle of the night when he had an ear infection.
Right.
There's a lot of support groups on Facebook, on social media. They're in the neighborhood. They're all over. Anybody that wants to adopt or inquiring, just Google it. There's all these support groups.
Yeah.
So now that my kids have special issues, right? They're autistic, and I belong to an association called NAMI, NAMI.org. And it's for learning how to deal with the disability of a child.
Okay. And can you give us that website again?
NAMI, NAMI.org.
NAMI.org. Okay.
And I'm certified to teach it. But I don't agree with everything they do their way. I kind of like to do things my way.
Right.
So I don't teach it. But I mean, there's so many different programs out there. Talk to your doctors, talk to your specialists. Again, I didn't want to be a number in Bexar County, so I moved to Guadalupe, where they had a name. When you look me up, it's Makeley Alden, because in Texas, if you adopt a child, you have to bring your folder with you. These are my babies.
Right.
I've had them since eons.
Yeah.
Sammy doesn't remember anything but me.
Right.
David was in one foster home. Matthew never went to a foster home. He came straight home from the hospital to me.
Nice.
And Danielle was only in a foster home for 3 months.
Okay.
So she was born in August and I got her in October. So I kind of feel like I got her around her due date.
Okay.
So, find me. I'm happy to share whatever knowledge I have.
Awesome. What now that we've talked about the kids and the adoption and stuff, let's talk about you for just a minute. We actually are out of time, but I just want to tell us a little bit about Marla. What do you do for fun? What do you do? What makes you happy? What makes you smile? What are you doing that that fulfills you?
Right now I have a friend writing a mental health script for me.
Nice.
I love being behind the camera, in front of the camera, working with my camera people.
Okay.
What makes me smile is seeing my children, seeing my husband. As you know, Mark's a cancer survivor, so that was touchy.
Yay, Mark.
Just, allowing my children to breathe. David works at Taco Bell.
Nice.
And he cleans the lobby. Matthew is a genius. He does YouTube videos and he does skateboard stunts, which scare me. But it's his wife's problem. Love you, Ray. Rachel, she's great. Danielle, even though she has flaws, she's still my Danny,
Yeah. We all have flaws. Yeah.
And those that, don't admit to it don't have to walk in my path.
Except my dogs. My dogs have no flaws. And my cats. And my ducks. And my giraffes. And my whatever else that lives there.
So Samantha, not only is she an actor, she's an ABA certified. Well, she's not working for a company right now, so she's not certified right now, but she has the knowledge of an ABA therapist.
Nice.
So when Taylor or any autistic person has a meltdown, she can deal with it.
Awesome. Well, kids, we're going to let you go because I know we're already 2-3 minutes over. But Marla, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you. Anytime. I love seeing you.
Same here. Kids, if you want to adopt a kid, look into it.
It takes 2 years.
It takes 2 years.
You have to be married. Well, in California, you have to be married 2 years. And when you get your marriage certificates, hang on to it because it's a pain in the ass, pain in the butt to get it again.
So kids, do your research and adopt, man. Help some kid out. Don't leave the kids. Don't leave the kids hanging. Help them out. So thanks for joining us. Thank you, Marla. And we love you guys. Please see us next week. Same bat channel, same bat station or whatever it's called. So anyway, thank you very much. Oh, thank you to Specs for the gifts. They sent me a gift for my birthday and I just found it today.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I found it today. I did. Oh, folks, I'm going to tell you one more thing and then I'll let you go. One of my cats got stuck in one of the cars for 2 days and I couldn't find her. And don't you know, she was nice and comfortable, in the car, nice and toasty. So keep an eye on your cats. If you can't find them, they're probably in your car. So like mine.
Or your windows up.
So yeah. So, all right, kids, thank you so much. We love you. We'll see you next weekend, or not next weekend, next Tuesday at 8 p.m. All right, we're out. Peace. Adopt.
Take a rib. Once you live, just double click. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Daddy G Show. Daddy G Show. Now type it in, take it in. Where do I begin? He's really funny and he's not really thin. It's the Big Daddy G Show. G Show. Big Daddy G Show. G Show. He's a funny guy, I'm not gonna lie. He once made me laugh out both my eyes. It's the Big Daddy G Show, G Show. It's the Daddy G Show, G Show. Yeah, now let's go. Now boy, what you know? Man, he made me laugh so hard I hit the floor. It's the Big Daddy G Show, G Show. It's the Daddy G Show, G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Yeah, it's the Big Daddy G Show. Yeah, now what you know? It's the Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. He make you laugh so hard you hit the floor. What it is, it's the Big Daddy G Show.